guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Muriel, this is Ask So by Muriel, and welcome to my new subscribers. How y'all doing? Just to give y'all a little background on me, I am Muriel, a registered nurse of almost 3 years now. Prior to, I was a licensed practical nurse. I work in acute care, but I actually prefer long-term care. I made this channel it really made it for nurses who are, around my age range. I'm 44 years old. I've been in the healthcare field now for about 22 years. And I made this video to try to help those who are in my age range, 35 to 45, who are thinking about starting a new career, and to help you get acclimated to this career, to encourage you to go into nursing and to help you along in those beginning stages of nursing. Try to be as honest as possible as I can on this channel. Y'all know, how it really is without violated any HIPAA regulations. So I told a subscriber a few videos back that I was going to start to become a little more skill oriented on my channel, and today is one of those videos. So my first skill that I'm going to discuss for those workers in long-term care, this is a little different from acute care, because we all know acute care is basically hospital care, but for long-term care, the residents there, they are some of them are there for rehab, and they'll be there 30, 60, 90, 120 days. Some of them are long-term care patients, so they're called residents because they reside there. This is their home, and things happen to them just like things that may happen at home. So we're going to talk about how to handle a possible fracture in long-term care. Okay guys, so I'm going to give a scenario that I had with a patient before. Came into work with a patient was in the bed. She had a swollen, I think it was one of her legs, left or right leg. It was swollen, it was painful. There was no report of her having had a fall. This patient was immobile basically. She doesn't have any, she's not able to bear any weight on her legs, her lower extremities, but she had her leg was swollen, and it was painful to touch, painful when you turn her or anything. And so in that instance, I came in, but the patient, there was no report of a fall. There was never any mention of a fall, but we all know there are other ways to break a bone besides a fall. It could be from twisting, from manipulating that area. Their bones are very fragile. The elderly bones are very fragile. So in my mind, the first thing I'm thinking is, oh my goodness, this lady has fractured her leg. There are other possible reasons for your extremity to be swollen. One could be a blood clot. There could be a blood clot in that area, and that will cause that area to be warm, tender, and some swelling. The other possible reason I can think of, though, is a fracture, a broken bone. So, and y'all, this was going to be an issue because it had been reported from the CNAs to me once I observed this, that this patient's leg has been swollen like this for some time. Oh, another possible reason could be lymphedema. But this patient's leg had been swollen like this for some time, and they were telling it to the nurses, and no one really did anything about it. As a nurse, you hate to hear that, because anything you find as a nurse, anything you come across, regardless of how long it's been there, you have to address it, whether it's to make sure that it's been addressed before or to follow through with what you find. You have to address it. And so with this patient, what you do when you find a situation like this, read the notes, see if this has been addressed, see if the doctor's been made aware of what's going on with the patient's leg, because you don't want to call the doctor and it's already been addressed in the notes. Look back through your orders, see if any medication has been ordered or x-ray has been ordered prior to that you're not aware of, because you don't want to, call the doctor about getting an x-ray on an area that's already been addressed. This particular patient, it was never addressed in any of the documentation. There was never any mention of it in any of the nurses' notes stating that they had observed this before, even though the CNAs told me that it's been like this. So it fell on me to handle it. So the first thing I did was got a set of vitals. Got the set of vitals on the set of vitals. I went ahead and did the vitals myself. I wanted to follow through with everything myself just to make sure everything was accurate. So I got the set of vitals on the patient. The patient was a 94-year-old female, if I can remember correctly, because this was over 10 years ago. Patient was a 94-year-old female. So I got her set of vitals, and I called the doctor, and I informed the doctor, hey, I have patient blah, 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 in room blah, blah, blah. She has a very swollen right leg. She complains of pain. She moans and she groans when we reposition her. I've been told that the area has been like this for some time, but I don't see where it's been addressed anywhere in the notes. Would you like me to go ahead and order x-ray? Sometimes when you call the doctor for things, sometimes you just have to make suggestions on what you want them to do without actually like making it like you're making the order, because some doctors they're not really familiar with all the patients like they should be, and sometimes you'll run across a doctor who is a new doctor or who is just covering for the resident doctor there, like they're on call but they are not really the medical director of the facility. So when I want something done, I'll make the situation seem as severe as possible when I call these doctors. So I was like, she has an area, it's very painful, it's swollen, it's painful to turn, reposition. I've been informed that the area has been like this for a few days. I don't see any mention of it in the documentation. Would you like me to get an x-ray? So of course the doctor was like, fine, get the x-ray. So what you do when you're getting an x-ray, first you go ahead and you call the family members. You let them know what you observed, because there can be times where the family members have been in visiting that patient and they've observed that as well, but they just didn't pay it any mind, or sometimes they hadn't seen a family member in so long they just thought that was normal what was going on at the leg, or they didn't pay it any mind, or sometimes they'll be like, yeah, because I came in the other day and I saw that and I was wondering. So you just let them know, hey, I'm nurse blah 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 with blah blah blah. I was in with your mother, your sister, your whatever the relation is, and I noticed that she has some swelling to her right leg. It's very painful. When we reposition her, I called the doctor and he agrees that we need to do an x-ray on it. Okay, always inform the family. Then what you do, most facilities have a company that they deal with for x-rays. A lot of long-term care facilities, they have a company they deal with when they have x-rays. They will have a book on the desk and it will have the name of that company, or it will say x-rays, radiology, or whatever. So you open the book. In that book, your facility should have its own number. That will be the facility account number. When you call the x-ray tech, have that account number. When you call, we use Mobilex a lot. When you call, have that account number in sight, because the things they're going to ask you, they're going to want to know what's your account number, because that's how they pull up the facility. Then they're going to want to know what's the patient's name, what's the patient's date of birth. Sometimes they'll ask the patient's social security number. You give that information. Then they're going to want to know what are the signs and symptoms that require what are the reasons, what's the reasoning that you require a portable x-ray, meaning for them to come into the building. And most of the time I just tell them immobility, so that letting them know that the patient isn't mobile, so they can't go out, you have to come in and do it. Then they'll want they will give you a confirmation number. Write that confirmation down, because that confirmation number is your proof that you ordered this x-ray. So you write that confirmation down. They will tell you that they're going to send a technician out. Sometimes they'll ask you, when do you need a technician out? If you need them to come out right then, say as soon as possible or whatever. If it's something like a post-fall, if it's post a fall and there was a fall and they tell you we can't come out till tomorrow, it's probably best to let the doctor know, hey, they can't come out till tomorrow. Can we go ahead and send the patient out for an x-ray, meaning you would send them to the hospital. But if, like in this patient's situation, she has had this swelling for a while, she's not mobile, so she's not going to get up and she's not going to try to walk on it. She already has a PRN order for pain medication. If she doesn't, you can get one when you're on the phone with the doctor and let them know they don't have an order for any type of pain medication. Can you order them something? They'll order them something. More than likely, they're going to order you something that's in the stat. They're going to probably just order Tylenol unless the patient is an allergy or something to Tylenol, or they'll order something that's probably already in the stat box that you can pull. But anywho, when they tell you when they can come see the patient, they'll be like, okay, well, we'll be out later today or whatever. Okay, so then you go to your documentation and you document all this in your documentation. You document what you observe when you enter the patient room. You document the signs and the symptoms, the swelling, the pain to touch, the pain upon repositioning. You document you made the phone call to the physician, that the physician gave you the order for an x-ray. You document that you notified the family. You can document what family you spoke to. You can say RP notified, then you can put the family member's name or relation, or in the documentation. And you document, like I said, that you called the x-ray company, and that and then you document the confirmation number that they gave you, because that is your proof that you made that order. Because sometimes they won't come out, and then when the next nurse or the next nurse that works, they'll be like, no one ever placed that order. Well, you got they can go pull up your notes, and it shows where your confirmation was made, the confirmation number that order was made for the x-ray. So you also go into your physician orders, whether you're electronic or on paper, and you actually put in the order for the x-ray, because this is an actual doctor's order. The doctor has to sign off on it. So you go into the computer system or in your notes, and you actually write the order, input the order for the x-ray. Okay, so all of this is covered. Once you do that, most facilities going to require that you do an incident report. Incident reports are reports that are done for the facility, for them to know things that are occurring. Some things are reportables to the state. What you observe isn't necessarily the reportable, but if it comes back that this patient has a fracture, that's a fracture of unknown origin, because we don't know how they received this fracture. That's a reportable. That has to be reported to the state, because it could be from abuse. It could be from neglect. It could just be pathological from her bones just, having brittle bones and they're breaking down. But either way, this is a reportable to the state if it comes back that this is a fracture. You as the nurse, you need to cover yourself. You need to document all this, as far as what you observed, who you notified, who you spoke with a family member, you got the order for the x-ray. You need to put all that on your incident report. The set of vital signs, you need to put that. Any staff member that was working that day, some facilities require witness statements from every staff member that was on the floor for an incident like this. Some only require witness statements for falls. Find out from your facility what exactly is required, because you may have to get a witness statement from every aide that was on that floor, every nurse that worked that floor, even though it wasn't their patient. You may have to get a witness statement. One thing I will say in your notes, do not put CNA informed nurse that patient's leg has looked like this for quite some time. Do not put that in your documentation. Make a mental note of that. Maybe pass it on to the supervisor, or pass it on to your DON, or pass it on to the administrator. Do not put that in your documentation. Only because that's speculation. That can't be proven. This is those notes are medical records. You can't prove that was like that for days. You're just going off of that aide's statement. The aide can put that in her witness statement if she likes, but do not put that in your documentation. Once you've done the incident report, you call the family, you order the x-ray, go ahead and make a copy of the patient's face sheet, make a copy of the order, or print off a copy of the order if you're dealing with an electronic MAR. And the x-ray company will send you it's like a order request. It will come through your fax machine. You have to have those 3 things when the x-ray tech comes. You have to have, all places don't require a copy of the face sheet, but just do one just in case. A copy of the patient's face sheet, that requisition they're gonna fax to you, and a copy of the actual order. Once you have those things, that situation has been handled. The x-ray will be conducted. You will get your results. Sometimes the radiographer can look at it themselves right then and be like, this looks like a fracture. But they are not technically supposed to read results, but some of them have been doing it so long that they can look at it and they can be like, this looks like a fracture. You don't document that because that is not the official result. You wait for them to call you, or they will call you as well as send it over via fax. But sometimes you'll get a call before you get the fax saying this patient has a fractured femur, a fractured tibia, a fractured fibula. Once that happens and you get sometimes the results will say no fracture seen, pathological, blah blah, no difference from prior, small difference or slight difference or increase or decrease from prior result. That means that there really isn't, it's probably just a pathological thing going on with the patient's bones breaking down or whatever. But sometimes you will get that report that says patient has a fractured right femur, right tibia, right fibula. If you get that, you have to call the doctor and you have to let them know this patient has a fracture. What will happen after that? The doctor and the family will decide, like this patient was 94 years old, she wasn't mobile. The family and the doctor will make that decision. Are we going to send this patient out because that requires some type of surgery or casting or setting the bones in place? Are we going to send this patient out? Or in the instance with this patient, the patient being 94 years old, the family didn't want to put the patient through surgery. The doctor and the family made that call to not send the patient out. So that patient didn't get sent out for any surgery. But 9 times out of 10, they're going to want their family members sent out. They're going to want that looked after. So, anywho, that is what you do if you come across a patient who has a swollen extremity. It's painful. Sometimes it'd be worn to touch and you suspect a fracture. That is how you handle that situation. It could be from the patient who's immobile or a patient who has had a fall. Both of those situations, that is how you handle it. All right, thank you guys for watching. Like I said, my next few videos will be content heavy as far as skill wise, to inform you of how you handle certain situations that you will come across in long-term care. If you hadn't watched my 2 videos prior to this, go check it out because I am selling nurse report sheet booklets on Etsy. I will have the Etsy link down below. These are some booklets to help the new grad nurse, the experienced nurse, or a nurse going from long-term care to acute care, or even agency nurses who visit different facilities. This is a book to help you, that will help you give a thorough shift report. I have sold a lot of these books here where I live. Everybody is loving them. I use the books myself. I love it. And like I said, they're aesthetically pleasing and there's everything in there you need to give a thorough shift report. Okay guys, I'm Muriel. This is So by Muriel, and I will catch y'all next time. Bye.